Alrighty folks, this is it. The final challenge of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz is about to await us. Prepare for ourselves, as probably is the most difficult world in the whole entire game. At least you guys were able to be still watching, and as for me though, oh boy, I'm actually going to be prepared for that though. So anyways, hey, what's going on ladies and gentlemen? I am Piglet here once again, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos of course. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz for the Nintendo Wii. So, last time we have managed to able to, well, just went through the forms of the ninth world, which appears to be Sinking Swamp, despite with the amount of trial and error situations on level 7, but apart from those side of things though, I did have a very good time on that particular world. And today, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a grand finale of this game's Let's Play. Because of this, we're about to be experiencing the final world in the whole entire game, which appears to be none other than World 10, which appears to be Ultra Heaven. And yes, just like the forms of how it does it on a similar unlockable method as in World 9, that normally in World 9, in order to actually unlock that world, is that you need to complete Worlds 1 through 8 without using any single continue. In order to actually unlock World 10, which appears to be the final world in the game, you have to do the same method, but this time you only just gonna have to focusing on World 9. Like, complete World 9 without using a single continue. So once you're done with that specific task, then you were able to actually access to the 10th and the final world, or in this case, for this matter, the hardest world in the whole entire game. I'm not kidding. It is literally the hardest world in the whole entire game, with this wonderful annoying level in the whole entire game, which you probably guys should already notice at this point, for those of you of the long-time Monkey Ball fans like I do. So even then, as you can clearly see, I'm going to be selecting Yen Yen the whole time. Clearly because of how the fact that I found her jumping is way too good for its own challenge of any shape or form. And second is the fact that, well, I just like selecting her because, you know, she is my favorite of the actual 6. So, but even then, no, don't expect things too much because this is where the game starts to get a lot tougher and challenging, because even then, to be expected, there's going to be a lot of dangerous hazards, or especially noticeable with these dangerous obstacles coming your way, and not to mention with all this bullcrap moments that's been coming up, which you definitely you can definitely know why whenever we're able to continue my progression of Ultra Heaven. So even then, to be expecting is the fact that I'm actually going to be able to try my best if I not to take too many deaths on some levels, all except on this one level that I'll point things out later on. Well, except for that one time I accidentally just managed to come across into one death, as you can see right there. Just because you know how the fact with the Wii Remote controls can sometimes feel a little bit too difficult on this particular world, as you can see right there. Compared to the HD remastered version, it was actually quite easy if you get the hang of it though, but it is still as one of the hardest worlds in the whole entire game. Well, if only because of that one annoying level is coming up, which I'll say that until whenever we get to it. So even then, today's day is the forms of the 14th of November today, and it's a good thing too that, you know, I said this before already, I'm not going to say that again. This is actually the finale of this game's Let's Play, and after all that stuff, well, I'll let Sonic and myself were able to get back into, well, specifically Sonic needs to get back into Warrior World until tomorrow, and as for me, I'll be glad to be back onto Toy Story 2. But in the forms of a different system this time around though, because, well, we'll point things out when Sonic and Sylvester, or specifically Sonic, were able to get back into Warrior World, or Sonic and Sylvester will get back into Mario Kart 8. So, anyways though, here's the final bonus stage in the whole entire game, and this is by far the hardest just because of controls. And second is the fact that if you don't keep your balance at all, this means you're pretty much going to be guaranteed you're probably not going to collect that much of bananas, unfortunately. Now, as you can see on the stage selection screen, I'm actually going to be ignoring stage 5 because, well, I'm just going to cut straight to the point. Because let me tell you, level 5 sucks. I'm not kidding. Level 5, it is goddamn awful. I mean, you can definitely tell why whenever we get to it though. But for now, we're just mainly focusing on stage 6, which is basically we need to hop onto this little clock hand, and we need to balance the Wii Remote very carefully until you're able to actually just go all the way to the goal. So, this one's not too bad though if you get the hang of it though, especially on let's just say in stage 1, and even especially noticeable in stage 2 if you get the hang of it though. Sometimes stage 3 and especially noticeable in stage 4 might give you some troubles, but nothing compared to the forms of how it does it on stage 7, as you can clearly see, because, well, nothing too hard about it. It's just at the very end, usually it makes it a little bit of a trickier moment, but even then, you know why until whenever we go towards it. So even then, for the most part though, this one wasn't all that hard until 10-5. Oh my god. Well, 10-5. You guys should probably know to see this coming, but even then, we'll have to wait and see what happens whenever we get to that abomination level. But at least on the Wii version, because, well, might as well have to find out until whenever we decided able to go and do Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD Let's Play at some form or another in the future, but for now on though, it's nothing usually compared to the forms of likely just the actual frustrating level coming up. Well, at least if you're struggling with the controls and all that stuff with the Wii remote and all that, everything else in this resides, then you know, you get the idea for that point. So anyways though, tomorrow actually, about the fact that for those of you the Pokemon fans like they are, well, I'm certainly not one of them, unfortunately, but at least even then, Pokemon Sword and Shield are about to be releasing tomorrow, because even then, as I said this before, today's day is the forms of the 14th of November, so even then, I'm quite sad about the fact that we're not going to be able to coming back into this after this Let's Play's done. Well, apart from the fact that, well, out of all the actual 10 worlds that this game actually has to offer, I didn't get a crown on that world at all on my own time. Especially noticeable for a spoiler warning, for those of you who want to know, I didn't get it on the Let's Play either, because, well, you can definitely tell why whenever we get to level 5, and sure enough though, it would happen. But from now on though, we'll have to focusing on level 8, and especially noticeable on level 9. Now, most people seem to think about the fact that level 9 on this world will be the last level in the whole entire game, but I'm gonna have to likely ignore 5 as it goes by, because I'm usually gonna make 10-5 the final level for me, because, well, you know how it is, with the easiest levels become super easy at the beginning, and then later on when it gets to the point when the later worlds start to kick in, then, you know, the difficulty really ramps it up if you manage to able to try to go through the actual challenge and stuff like that. So, but you know, you get the idea for that point, but even then though, we'll have to able to actually point things out whenever we get to it. So anyways, let's go ahead and use these little dash pads before you're able to continue our progressioning, and turns out we actually did level 8 just fine. And here we go on to level 9. It appears to be, well, let's just say the true final level if you choose to able to go through 10-5 early on, but this is actually the last level in the whole entire game, because basically, wow, that was a really bad start right there. That is really, really bad. Anyway, yeah, as you can see, we need to go all the way up to the top of the tower. You know, it's kind of like how the actual is exactly the same level as in the forms of one of those levels in, well, I don't know how to record it per se, but even then, no, that's as far as we'll go. And this is the point where basically at the end of the game, much like the forms of Space Case World, it's best to ignore those boost pads at all costs, because basically, the more you use it, especially noticeable whenever you get towards at the very end, as you can see right there, basically, this happens. Well, basically, it'll fluke me off, and then as a result, it will able to actually just well, force you to go all the way back to the beginning of that stage again. So, well, it wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it was, but the only toughest part about it is that, well, obviously, it's trying to ignore, you know, these boost pads, and that's all there is to know. So, but as long as you know what you're doing, especially noticeable if you keep on using Yen Yen for the entirety of the whole entire world, then you will be fine. So, even then, that's as far as I can usually think about it. So now I'm going to start talking about level 10-5. Level 10-5 is the one we have to utilize with the forms of those bumpy, well, let's say pyramids, I like to call them. And for whatever I managed to play it on my own time on the PS4 version, I don't have that much of an issues for this point. But believe me, we'll get to that comparison whenever we do the HD remaster Let's Play in the future though. But, we'll just jump right in and just see how it goes. But before we do that, one thing I forgot to show you guys is that if you hold down the B button, this will activate the practice button, or in this case, the practice mode. So if you're having a hard time with the harder levels, then feel free to able to practice. So anyways, let's get to it. Okay, if you couldn't tell already, multiple jump cuts later, if you couldn't tell why my score count is now all the way down to 0, especially noticeable why my lives is being reset, because this level right here, Ultra Heaven Dash 5, is the worst level in the whole entire game. You ever know why? Well, to be more specifically, the Wii version of this stage. You ever know why? Because for one, basically it just makes it a little bit harder for you, that's for sure. Second is that this stage is filled to the brim with all kinds of pyramids. Not just any pyramids, but a different colored pyramids. To be more accurate, yellow, green, and worst of all, the red ones. And believe me, it's not as easy as it sounds, and to make matters worse, is that this is on the Wii version. You notice you might be perfectly safe on that platform, and if you think we might actually get onto it, well, don't, because that way, it allows you to able to glitch through the platform, which thankfully, the HD remastered version has been fixed, so even then though, that the HD version is much more superior with that level, but the Wii version on the other hand though, it is 100% luck-based. I mean, really, this level is really luck-based as it seems. That is by far is one of the hardest levels in the whole entire game in Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz. But when you get the hang of it though, especially enough practices and stuff like that, well, basically you would able to guarantee you can get yourselves a Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz Hall of Fame. But either way though, enough about that specific joke. But even then though, we are done with Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz for the Nintendo Wii. And we'll show you all about the forms of the credit sequence now, because, well, we've basically done all 10 of these worlds. Sadly, I wish I was going to expect it to able to do with, do all the worlds without using a single continue. But unfortunately, in World 10's case, I used several continues. I mean, literally used every single continues I've ever done. Although, thankfully, though, the game encourages you to give you an infinite amount of continues, but it's just that if you really want to go for that precious shiny crown, good luck with that because of 10.5's luck-based element, which I will say this right now. You know, it's just, you know, it's frustrating. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So anyways, let's get my final thoughts of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz on the Nintendo Wii version while compare that to the HD version till later. But anyway, it was an alright game. I mean, it's not my, well, not my favorite in this series, though. I mean, it is okay at best, but even then, there are some good things, though, such as the forms of the soundtrack, which, to be expected for most other Monkey Ball games, but most of the actual soundtrack in this game heavily borrowed from the likes of Touch and Roll for some reason. But hey, at least I don't mind this at all, and also the visuals do look very good for its time, even especially noticeable as a Wii's launch title of the actual game. Back in 2006, that is. And also, junior forms of the gameplay itself is pretty solid, in addition with the forms of adding some new features introduced in this game, or the only time there's been introduced in this game, such as, you know, boss battles, which is an out-of-place decision, but even then I don't mind this at all. And the jump feature was pretty cool, but sometimes though, in any difficult levels, mainly with the forms of 10.5, on the other hand, oh my god, jumping can be quite risky sometimes, whilst jumping can be pretty useful as an ability, although this is the only time that the Super Monkey Ball series can only utilize the jump ability, which until Step and Roll, 3D, and Banana Blitz, they are pretty much going to be removing the actual jump feature at all, so, and, yeah, that's as far as I can go for this point, and the story is very simple, just a little bit more of a, just a typical, simple, basic story as you would think. So, and also, this game also has like 50 party games, which I would say it is a hell of a lot more party games than you ever think about it. But most of them are pretty fun to play, but most of them are downright terrible. Most notably with like japping the actual, you know, the actual spatula in front of those fishes. Oh, it's so unintuitive. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And let's just get my negative things about the actual game quickly. Is that I already mentioned about this before, is the fact that there's some of these levels, most notably with 10.5, most likely, I know, the actual minigames themselves is like, you know, kind of lackluster in comparison to the old style of Monkey Ball games we all know and love. And second is that while the controls themselves are pretty okay for the most part, it's just that whenever you're trying to deal with the actual camera controlling and stuff like that, it can be pretty finicky at times. But anyways, I think that's as far as I can say about with the films of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz as it goes on the Wii version. So if you really want to recommend it, well, for those of you who want to be the actual true fan of Monkey Ball series like I do, luckily for you, though, you can now able to get the HD version of the game, which that will be the next Let's Play we're going to be doing for the Monkey Ball series for that department. But until then, this is me, Piglet, from the likes of the Maxi Toys. And until then, we'll see you guys back on Toy Story 2 in next Monday. So until then, bye. Yeah, thanks.